Hi everybody, Tiffany here, and I'm going to be showing you a few techniques on how to use different mediums and different mixed media techniques on cards. And if we get around to it, I will do this tag as well. So two different kind of techniques. So on this one, I used modeling paste and I used sprays and rust paste. And then on this one, I used, oh my gosh, tissue paper to cover the background, and then I created lots of texture. It's hard to tell on the camera, but there's a lot of texture. And then I did some heat embossing, and then I added some chipboard, and then of course some splatters with acrylic paint and the color bloom sprays. So this one's different, but I think we're going to do this one. But first we're going to go over, I had my notes, I had to make some notes. So the first thing I want to say is that if you're new to mixed media, the first things that like my essentials that I have to have, the first thing is baby wipes. And I just love, I can clean off my palette knife, clean off my surface. It's just, I love them. And then, okay, so there's gesso, of course, and you want gesso to prime your surface. And there's white, so there's, Prima has white gesso, black gesso, which I've not used yet, and clear gesso, which I use probably the most. So that's, and the white gesso is really, really thick from Prima. It's, I mean, you can use this as texture, you know, like you would modeling paste. Okay. And then, of course, you need sprays and paints. I, of course, love the Color Bloom sprays. And then there's acrylic paints, just depending on the look you want. Hello, everybody that is coming in. And yes, Janelle, it is a chipboard, Prima tag. It is, I don't have the package out, but I will, remind me later and I'll send you a link. And then stencils. So I'm sure a lot of people know about stencils, and you can get them from all kinds of different companies, and it just helps create, you can spray and then use your sprays and add different types of patterns, or you can use acrylic paints and kind of spread over, or of course I use modeling paste or light paste. And then but I did recently see this really cool video on Facebook. It had different ways to paint, I guess, and it was using a rolling pin, and you wrapped like bubble wrap around it and then put paint on it and you rolled it, and then you did like different rubber bands, wrapped them around the rolling pin, and then you just painted it and then rolled it on your surface. And what else? There was a couple other things that, I mean, you can get creative if you don't have a lot of resources to get things like this, because you don't have to have, you know, everything from, you know, a million different companies. Just use what you have and make it work. And stamps, I loved stamping on my mixed media projects. It just creates a lot of texture, and you want to get a I use StazOn. I always want to get a brown StazOn, but I don't know, I just always just use black. And but yeah, you want to get like StazOn or Memento ink, because it's not going to run if you add sprays or paints or anything to it. It's permanent. Okay, and then of course you can add you know, metal pieces like this, or flowers and fabrics and different types of things like that. Okay, so that was my little spiel about my essentials for mixed media. And then now we're going to move on to modeling paste really quickly, because I know once I get into it, the time goes by really fast. Okay, so this is the one that I did with, let me see. So this one is light paste with mini art stones. And these are the little mini art stones. They're really, really cool. I'm not gonna demo like everything because it would take too long, but if you want me to do a class or a show on just that, I would be happy to do that. And then this one is the modeling paste. It's pretty much a lot of this kind of same texture. I feel that the light paste is a little bit more porous, like it kind of just I feel with the modeling paste it kind of sits on top if you do like color bloom sprays or anything like that, but with the light paste I feel it kind of absorbs the color. And then this is light paste with micro beads, so you could still see the color of the micro beads, and this isn't completely dry either. And then this is modeling paste with the micro beads. And then I also did, somebody asked how to get the modeling paste more white or to dry whiter. So I added a little bit of gesso, white gesso, to the modeling paste, and it, of course, it helped, but you don't want to add too much or else it's going to be runny, and then the effect of the modeling paste is not going to be the same. So, okay, so really quickly, I'm going to take that, and I had already done this before if you're just showing up, but I did it on white cardstock and the camera doesn't like that. So let's see, sometimes it's kind of wigging out. Is it? Come on. All right, there we go. Okay. So I'm just going to scrape a little bit on here. You can see, let me zoom in just a tad. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit. And then you can obviously, you know, kind of scrape around like this. You can tap it like this to add a lot of texture. I'm just going to scrape it like this, and then I'm going to add some color on top of it. But then I'm going to also, of course it's not opening, okay. I'm going to show you a few different ways to color the modeling paste, and this is the new acrylic paint, and this color is light patina. And I'm just gonna add a little bit, and it is gonna lighten the color a little bit of whatever color you're using. So it's not gonna be the exact color like this paint. Obviously it's gonna be lighter because it is white. So you can add acrylic paint, and then you can even use this with a stencil and add more texture and then add more color on top if you wanted to. Okay. And then let me look at my notes. Okay. And you don't have to have palette knives. You can use like an old credit card or something like that. Just something that is flat and that you could spread it out. Okay, and then I'm going to use the stencil. Just going to scrape some of this up. I normally don't color my modeling paste, but somebody had asked if I can show how a few different ways to use modeling paste. So that's what I'm doing. Okay. And then the same thing, you can use light paste. Like I said, light paste I feel is a little bit more porous and it grabs the color a little bit better. As modeling paste, it kind of just sits on top, if that makes sense. I don't know. That's just how I feel it works. And everybody probably has different ideas. Okay, let me just clean this up. Okay, so you could see it's going to add a lot of texture to your projects if you want it to. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. And ways you can color your modeling paste or your light paste, you can, like I said, you can use acrylic paints, you can use mica powders, you can use the artisan powders. This artisan powder is super cool. I've used it a couple times just here and there. It is very dark, some of them, the one that I used, so I was light with the sprinkling of the powder. And then also you can use oil pastels to color. Like if you just rub it on your mat and then kind of mix in the modeling paste, that will color it as well. The only thing I probably wouldn't use is a really, really runny acrylic paint. This one's a little bit thicker, I think. And then also color bloom sprays or any other sprays. I probably wouldn't use those to color the actual paste, like mix it in, just because it'll make it a little bit runny, if that makes sense. Okay, so any questions before I move on to the card? Just gonna clean up a little bit and wait to see if you guys have any questions. Just clean this off because I'm going to use it right now. Okay, I think we're good to go, I think. If not, I'll try to keep an eye out on the chat. Okay, for the card, so this is the card we're gonna make. I don't believe Prima makes black modeling paste, but you could add, let me see. Yeah, see, I haven't even used it, and it's, this is pretty thick like the white, so you probably could use this almost like modeling paste. You kind of want to be a little bit careful because, look, just because it is it's not as thick as modeling paste. So, yeah, I'm not sure if any other company makes black modeling paste. I know that Prima makes, let me try to grab it real quick. this texture paste, and it's almost black. I don't even think it's open. It's not open, but I'll open it for you guys. Well, it's gray, and it has a texture to it. So I'm wondering if you add a little bit more black gesso to this, if you didn't mind the texture, if that would work for you. I hope that helps. I know I haven't even started yet. My fingers are all messy. Okay, let me clean this up so I don't get anything else all black. Okay, so back to the card. This is a card we're gonna make, and it's a standard size card. And the only thing I think, because I don't really like rules or anything, or like, I don't know, you know, when people say like, oh, you can't do that with that, rules of, you know, the rule of thirds and all that kind of stuff. I don't really pay any attention to it. But with cards, I try my hardest not to put too much on them, because if you're going to be sending it out, then you'll have to use like a bubble mailer or something like that to send it out, which isn't a big deal anyways. But I mean, when you're standing it up, it's kind of front heavy. So you kind of just want to be a little bit aware of how much heavy items you're adding to your cards. And I was trying to make it as simple as possible, but I kept adding. So for this one, I didn't do such a good job. But, okay, so I have my card here, and I just folded it in half. And I'm just using scrap paper. So I have a huge bin of scrap paper. And even if you have smaller scraps, you can definitely kind of like add them and make kind of like a cool collage background if you wanted to. I'm actually going to cut this down to the size that I need really quickly. Excuse my messy cutting board, my trimmer, I mean. And this paper is from the Salvage District collection. Actually, I want to do a little bit less than 4 1/4. And then a little less than 5 1/2. Thank you so much. Okay, so I could have cut it just a tad bit, but that's okay. So what I did first, or what I do with my cards normally, is I work off of the card base, and then I attach it to the card base after. So we're going to take brush, and we're going to add some clear gesso to this, because I like all of I like the background, and it just gives a little bit more texture and depth to your project if you add pattern paper instead of just plain paper. But it's totally up to you and how your creative mind works, because how I like something isn't necessarily how you like something, or you know, anything like that. So I'm adding a good coat of clear gesso. And this just primes the surface so that I can add all my sprays and paints and things. Okay, I'm going to be using the heat tool, just fair warning. And I use my heat tool a lot when I craft. I'm not one of those people that is patient and can wait an hour for their paint to dry or anything like that. I always am using my heat tool, even for the crackle paste. I know that's pretty bad, but okay, I'm super impatient. Okay, next we are going to see, I have my little notes here so I don't forget what order I go in. Okay, so we're gonna add the light paste with the stencil, and this stencil is from the Sunrise Sunset collection from Finnabair. It's from 2013, so it's a little bit old, but I'm pretty sure you could still get it if I'm not mistaken. Like, it's easily accessible. Okay. And I like the light paste. Like I said, I feel it dries quicker, as well as it just kind of holds the color, whatever sprays and mediums I'm using. So I'm just kind of not really in any order, or and I'm gonna clean this. And it is fluffy. It's kind of like frosting almost, like it's thick. So I think if you're new to mixed media, personally, I would probably go with the light paste if you're wondering if you're gonna get Prima products, which to me they're the best. So, and I'm not just saying that either. Okay, baby wipe. And clean this off. So if you haven't seen my video on how to clean your stencils if you leave modeling paste on it, it's over on my channel, and I'm trying my best to be very good and cleaning my stencils. Okay, I'm gonna let this air dry just because I need to paint some chipboard, and then my frame, and then my little metal piece. Actually, I think I might keep the metal piece. So I should have grabbed the package. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, yep, they're right here. Okay, so Finnabair has these hearts, and they're mechanicals, and they have already like a rust finish on some of them. And so I'm gonna use one and leave it just like that. Don't think it's focusing very well, but so yeah, there's 10 that comes in the package. I don't remember how much it is, but it's the hearts. They're just called Mechanicals Tin Hearts. Okay, so I'm gonna actually pop out these circles, because on this one I added the inside of the hexagon shape, kind of adds a little bit more, you know, embellishments on the card. And don't throw these away. I have a whole bag of just the parts that come out of the chipboard pieces. All right. And I'm gonna grab my scissors, and I'm gonna cut this because I'm kind of wanting it to go, let's see. Just kind of like that kind of general shape. And then for this, I'm actually going to use the white gesso. And then when I paint my chipboard, I kind of pounce my brush around, and it just kind of gives a little bit of texture. And I think I said this last time, that if you want your chipboard pieces to be really, really white, you're gonna want to do a few coats of gesso or emboss them with white embossing powder, because they're laser cut, and so it kind of has like a, I don't know, like this brownish, woodish color. I don't know how to explain it, but it kind of tints the gesso just tad bit gray almost, not completely white. Okay, so I'm gonna color a few of these. And they're kind of hard. My tweezers, of course, they're not where they're supposed to be. Okay, so that's that. And let me grab my little frame. I'm actually going to use a circle one this time. Last time I used a square. Okay, I'm just going to heat this really quickly. Whoops. Hello, Shannon. Okay, I'm just gonna get rid of these. Nipur, were you talking about the chipboard? And I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. It is, I believe it is a Blue Fern Studios chipboard. I think it's just circles. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to go with the same kind of all of my embellishments on this side, and then kind of moving out that way. So I did use some sorry, I had to grab it. I used some cheesecloth. Okay, and this one's like a natural color. It doesn't bother me. I wish I kind of had white, but it's not a big deal. And this stuff is pretty cheap, and I think I bought this one time in the probably the past 2 years or 3 years, and I use it all the time. Hi, Terry. I'm sorry, I forgot to directly message you to tell you. I was running late. I couldn't find my coffee. And then I forgot that I didn't take it off my Keurig machine. Okay. So I think that'll probably be good. All right. So at this point, if you wanted to stamp, you could stamp. I'm not doing any stamping today. Or I think reasonable people or normal people might stamp before they add the modeling paste, but I kind of do things a little backwards. So I stamp, this is when I would probably stamp. So since we're skipping that, I'm going to add my first layer of color. So you want to start with your lightest color first. And this color is soft teal. And just kind of spraying it. And then just moving the card around so it kind of just flows where it wants to. And I do my my modeling paste, or in this case the light paste, kind of thin. You could of course add it thicker if you wanted to. Okay, and actually I'm gonna add, just before my paintbrush dries up, I'm gonna add just a little bit of that white gesso. I'm gonna set that aside. Okay, and then while it's still a little bit wet, I want to, whoops, I want to add a little bit of darker color, and this one's deep teal. And I'm just going to splatter it just a tad. So I just kind of flick it with my finger. And then because the lighter color is still, you know, it's wet, it's not dry yet, it's going to help it all run together. And each layer you add and how you add it, it's just gonna create different text, like a different back look to your background. Yes, it is deep teal. Yes, soft teal first and then deep teal. My favorite colors, if you haven't noticed yet. Okay, I am gonna clean this up because it's bugging me when I look at the screen. Okay, and then because the two mix together, the deep teal isn't that dark. So I'm gonna actually add, now that it's dry, I'm gonna add a little bit more of the deep teal splatters, because I want, I don't know if you could tell on here, it's splattered in the back. So I want that splatter look. I don't want it to be all mixed together. And a lot of this is going to be covered up. And I always say this, but each layer you add, whether it's the stamping or the sprays or the paste, whatever you add is just going to just, once everything is on your project, it's just going to make it that much more interesting. So, okay, I'm going to dry this and then I'm going to add a little bit of a darker color. Sorry if you don't like the heat tool, I'm going to be using it quite a bit. Okay, then I have this precious stone. It's pretty dark gray, I want to say. And I really normally don't use a lot of darker colors, but I'm trying to, like always, I'm trying to step out of my box and use different things. And did I say this one is Precious Stone? And they're all Prima Color Bloom sprays. So I'm just dipping it in there and then just tapping it so it's, and you can always tap with something else if you want to. So this is like almost black, but not quite. Okay, I'm gonna dry one more time for now. And we're just building up our background to create a lot of interest and texture in the back. Okay, so a lot of times I will use gesso and water to do my white splatters, but I recently found that I had this Color Bloom spray and it is frost. This is like gesso and water in a bottle, and it creates, that's what I used on here. It creates the perfect white splatters, and not, because I'm always having like a mess on the side here. So this is perfect. And it's frost. It's not, I think there's like a pearl white or something. It's not that one, it's frost. And you can always use a paintbrush to do this. I just kind of like this because then it's less paintbrushes that I have to clean later. Okay. And then a little trick too, if it doesn't seem like it's coming out like splattering that well, I always just kind of do a little spray. And then that gets it in the tube, and then you'll be able to use all that's in the tube. See? Just like that. See if you guys can see the texture, and just, it's just, I don't know, the only word I could think of is yummy. I don't know. Probably sounds weird, but like when I see people's projects and there's like so much texture and color and just, it's just yummy to me. Just want to just have it in my hands and just look at it. Okay, so next we are going to start layering our embellishments, and the first thing we're going to do is add the cheesecloth, and then I just kind of pull it apart a little bit, just like everything. It's not going to be perfect. Not really, well actually I think I'm going to use this one. Just however it turns out is how it turns out. Every project is going to be different, even if you use the same exact products, especially with mixed media, because the color is not going to run the same way as it did before, and you know, like this, you're not going to get the exact same shape or anything that you did before. So each project is unique. Okay. So I'm just going to start layering a little bit, and then when I see that I like it, I will we'll start gluing it down. Okay. Let's see, my flowers, this one. And then I use these flowers here. And this one has kind of like a text on it. It's gonna white it out. Okay. And then I use that kind of like that. And then I used a couple of these smaller flowers here. And then I just pull these off the stems. And I also added, I don't know where this trim came from. I just found it in my stash. Sorry if I shook the camera a little bit. And then I'm gonna add these kind of tucking in there. Here and there. I think I'm gonna add 3. We'll see where I want that one next. Okay. And then I also added one of these little flowers here. Just kind of and take the leaves off. Okay, while I'm taking the leaves off and kind of arranging it, is there any questions? Hi, Brandy. I'm so glad that you made it. Okay, so this is some upholstery thread, and it's thicker than regular sewing thread, and I like it a little bit more. So let me just, actually gonna take a little sip of my coffee real quick. Yeah, they're kind of like lace flowers. I don't remember where I got them, but they were just in my bin of lace and trims. All right, so I put the string down, or the thread. Let me pull all this up. Okay, and then these are my favorite flowers. I love white flowers. These are the Purity 2 flowers, I believe, from Prima. And they come in a box of a lot. And I think I'm gonna use, I think this is the same one that I used. I'm just gonna use that one. Yeah, you can use regular sewing thread, but this is just a little bit thicker, so you could it just pops a little bit more, the texture. All right, and I'm actually going to, I think my water was on here. I'm gonna add a little bit of water there and then get my gesso going a little bit. And then I'm just adding a little bit of, I don't know, it's not a coat of gesso, but just a little bit of gesso on this flower. I kind of like how it turns out when you do that. And you can always add modeling paste, like to the tips, if you want a lot of texture to your flowers or whatever. Oh, lost you guys there. All right, I'm gonna start gluing because my hour's almost up, and I promised myself I would not go too much past an hour. Because I think last time it was like an hour and 45 minutes because I just didn't know what I was doing, didn't plan anything last time. So I'm just gonna, and I didn't glue this down, I think because of it's sticky from the paste and the colors and everything. It's just, you know what? I added the cheesecloth to the top, just like this. It just kind of sat there, okay? And then when I add my frame and then the flower on top, it'll stay. It's not gonna go anywhere. And my choice of glue is Fabri-Tac for this type of project because I can move it around, and I do that a lot when I'm doing mixed media type projects, just because I always change my mind. All right, so we're gonna add the frame. Just gonna hold that just really quickly. Add the flower. Actually, take that back. I'm gonna twist this around again. My hand. Forgot that I'm zoomed in quite a bit, so you can't see a lot of what I'm doing off camera. All right, so it's kind of like a circle, and then I just kind of spread it out and place it down. And then if there's any kind of weird looking loops or anything that I don't want, I just snip them off and then finish my project. All right, so I'm adding the glue to my flower. Add my flower off center of the frame. This frame is a little smaller than the square one. And then I'm gonna add this flower. Like here. This one maybe there. And these circles. I'm going to add the circles from the inside of this chipboard piece, kind of here and there. Okay, so this is what we got so far. And I'm just gonna continue adding my, my embellishments that I want. And take a look at this card real quick. Add that one there because my title's gonna go kind of about there, so I kind of want a little flower to accent that a little bit, and then I'm going to put my heart like that. So this one is, of course, is coming out a little bit different than my original, but that is okay. Oops. It's my rusty heart. All right, I think we're good. I added my title at the very end and then I sprayed it. That's how I got it a little bit colored. All right, now, okay. Now comes the interesting part because I'm still fairly new with using the rust paste. Is it out of focus again? Let's see. Come on. All right, I think once I start adding the color, I think it'll probably behave a little bit better. I'm just gonna add one more little flower, and then we'll be good to go. Add it right up here. And I'm gonna get my gesso. And I'm just gonna pounce it around here and there. I'm not going to do my heart just because I like the, well, maybe just a little bit, because I'm gonna be spraying it and adding the paste to it and stuff, so. See what I mean? I am very indecisive, so. Okay, where did my rust paste? Oh, there it is. Okay, so it comes in a package of 3. So like I was saying, I'm fairly new still to using it. So this one is brown rust, gold rust, and red rust. And it's like very pigmented paint with like a grit to it, but it dries matte and it looks exactly like rust. Like, it's crazy. It's so cool. Okay, but you kind of want to be careful because, like I said, it's very pigmented, and if you get any on a part where you don't want, you're just, if it's something that is completely ruined your project, then you're probably gonna have to throw it away or figure out a way to add enough gesso to cover it up, because it's not very forgiving. So where you put it is where it's gonna go, if that makes sense. Okay, let me just get another drink. Okay, and before I go any further, there is so many different ways to build up a mixed media card or tag, canvas, whatever. I'm just showing you just a few different ways that I do it. So, I mean, there's probably a million different techniques. So obviously I can't go through all of them. Yeah, it is a little bit scary, but once you get the hang of it, it's really, really cool. And I actually add a little bit of water to mine. So, and it helps it a little bit, not, kind of helps it move around a little bit. All right. So I'm going to add some color with the soft teal, and I'm just going to kind of add it underneath my flower here on the frame, maybe a little bit on the other little flowers, just kind of randomly. A little bit there, just like that. And then I'm going to I'm gonna add that. And then I added, so I sprayed the flower with a little bit of the soft teal, and then now I'm just gonna go in and kind of hopefully spritz just a tad so that the center is a little bit darker and it kind of gives like an ombre effect. It's really cool. All right. Yes, it sure is fun. And there's no right or wrong, you know, it's just I don't know. I feel like if you do what is kind of like in your heart and just how your creative mind works, then it'll show through your projects and it'll just be beautiful. So we're gonna get the rust paste, and I kind of grab a little bit and then put it on my mat, and then just kind of work from there rather than going back in the, whoops. Okay, so I first start off kind of getting it underneath the flower and just kind of here and there, almost like dry brushing it around. And then once I kind of like how that looks, then I will go in and add a little bit more. And you can definitely use like a palette knife for this, but I feel you have more control on a smaller project like this if you use a little paintbrush. So this one is a Finnabar, I don't know, it doesn't say the number on here, but it's a small one. And I'm gonna add a little bit to the frame here. I'm gonna add, even though this is rusted already, I'm gonna add it to the heart. Hope you guys can see this. And then I'm just gonna keep going here. And I'm gonna add some splatters with this color too, so and now I added a little bit of water, and I'm just gonna kind of splatter it here and there. Okay, and if you know kind of the order or what paste you want to use as far as the rust paste, then I would start with the lighter color first, which in my case would be the red rust, but I wasn't sure if I was going to add that one yet, so I didn't. So this is how I did it before, and that's how I have it on my notes, so I'm just following my notes. So all right, so that's it so far, and I'm gonna add a little bit of water. It's not too much, but just enough to kind of get that color flowing just a little bit. It's not gonna flow like a regular, you know, paint or anything, but just enough. All right, then I'm going to spray some deep teal. I'm gonna close this up. And with darker colors, I get a little bit worried, can't talk tonight, when I'm actually spraying on the project. Just because, see, there I go. All right, I'm gonna actually splatter a little bit, and then I think the question I get the most is how to get into mixed media. And the same answer as I had to do it is just do it. And then the more you do it, the more you play around with different techniques, you'll figure out what you like the best and how you like your projects, and you'll get kind of like how I layer. It took me a long time to do that. I was always pulling my projects apart because I was not doing modeling paste, and then at the end I was like, oh, I should add some more texture with the modeling paste. So I don't know, for me it took a while, and I'm still learning, like I said. Whoops. Man, this steep teal does not want to cooperate with me tonight. All right. Just gonna add it like this. More splatters. All right. I'm gonna add a little bit of splatters of the precious stone again. So I'm gonna spray this out on here. And you will get messy, so all right, see on this one how maybe you could see right here I kind of tore or spread the cheesecloth out a little bit more, and this one I didn't spread it as much, and so I'm kind of not liking that, but that's okay. So I wish I would have spread it out a little bit more than I actually did, so that's okay. All right, next we're gonna do the red rust, and I'm just gonna move these out of the way. All right, take a little bit and let me just dry just a little bit. All right, I'm just gonna go in just here and there with this red rust. I don't want a lot of this color, but I just think at the end when I finished the card, I felt like it just needed a little bit more color. And I'm gonna get a little bit more. I'm gonna add some water and splatter it on. And once it dries, once all these colors dry completely, it lightens up a little bit more to this. Add and all this is up to you, how much you like and what is pleasing to your eye. Like when I watch people, I like to kind of just pick up the techniques they use and things, and then kind of just use that instead of trying to mimic exactly what they do, because each person is different. I keep saying that. Each person is different in how I like something. Like, even though I find somebody else's project amazing, it doesn't mean that I am gonna like it for my own project. I hope that makes sense. All right, we're going to add some more white splatters, but first I'm gonna do a little bit of drying. So if you guys have any questions, let me know and I'll answer them. All right, I did add, actually, I'm gonna add a little bit of deep teal to this one. And this one as well. Okay, this one turned out a little bit darker than the first, but that's okay. Okay, I'm gonna do the splatters. You guys see okay? All right, so that's what we have so far. Lots of texture, lots of layers, and it's not very heavy. I think the heaviness is coming from the frame, the resin frame, and then the metal piece. But I'm gonna add some paper on the inside, some pattern paper on the inside, and then it'll help kind of balance it out a little bit. But when you do tags, like this is a chipboard tag, you can just add a ton because it's thick and it can hold it. So, all right, we're going to distress the edges with my Prima tool, maybe. It's kind of stuck in there. Oh, jeez. All right. You know, well, considering I started a little bit late, I'm about maybe 10-15 minutes over my hour, so it's not as bad as last time. And at least I kind of knew what I was doing this time. So I hope you guys, I answered any questions or anything. And if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, leave any questions you want and I will try to answer them. I feel like I'm definitely no expert. There's people that flow way more smoothly with their mixed media style. But if it's something that I don't know, I'll try it out and I'll learn with ya. Alright, I'm just distressing the edges because I feel like with them just straight and I don't know, because of all the texture and different things we did to the card. Yeah, see, this one is way darker than this one. I don't think I've really done a project this dark, really. All right, we're gonna add it to my card base. And I'm just gonna use some of my, well, this one's Fabri-Tac. I always forget which one I pick up. Because I go back and forth between the Fabri-Tac and the 3-in-1. I don't know. I feel like they kind of are the same. All right, and then the last thing we're gonna do is add our title, or sentiment in this case, because it's a card. All right, and I have my little book over here. This is from Tim Holtz. It's just a sticker book of different phrases and words. And let's see. What do I want it to say? Actually, there was one that just said hello. Let's see. What did I do on the other one? Oh, I put love you. Let's do well, here's love. Let's see if I can find you. So I can't, my mind isn't working to get a, see, I can't even think. Can't find U. Sure there oh, there it is. There's like 10 of them right here. All right, so I added a little bit of the soft teal, just sprayed it. And it kind of soaks in just a tad. You want to be careful or else it'll pull apart. But I just add the glue to the back. Put that right here, just like that. I know I was gonna use stamped sentiment, but I feel like for a card that's kind of, I don't know. I mean, of course, most everybody uses a stamped sentiment for a card. I just felt like this might be a little bit different. I don't know. All right, so that's it. You can see it's not dry completely yet, but I will take some good pictures tomorrow and I'll post them for you guys so you could see this rust paste. It is just amazing. So that's the first one. See, and then all right. I want to thank you guys so much for coming, and if you are watching the recording, I want to thank you for watching it, and if you have any questions, feel free to message me or leave me a comment, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. And I'm going to stop the recording.